What if the sweetest thing you have ever accepted carried a silent message beneath its sugar coating, a message not meant for the tongue but for the unseen realms of thought and belief? From childhood, white sweets have symbolized joy, blessings, and pure celebration, passed from hand to hand during weddings, festivals, and moments of triumph. Yet the universe works through law, and every symbol carries power according to the consciousness placed upon it. When people speak of hidden darkness behind innocent appearances, they are often sensing not fear itself, but the misuse of spiritual law operating through ignorance. Nothing enters your life without first passing through the gate of belief, and nothing holds power over you unless your thought consents to it. Florence Scovel taught that the invisible world responds to mental images impressed upon it, and mankind reaps what he silently accepts. Throughout cultures, stories have circulated about objects carrying intention, and food being a vessel for energy. Yet these stories persist not because objects are powerful, but because belief is. White sweets become symbols, and symbols can either uplift or unsettle the mind depending on the meaning assigned to them. When fear is entertained, it becomes a seed planted in fertile soil, but when understanding replaces fear, the seed dissolves before it can grow roots. The law is impartial, responding to clarity or confusion alike. Many have felt an unexplainable heaviness after receiving something meant to celebrate life, and they question whether unseen forces were at work. In truth, the unseen force is always thought itself, moving silently yet persistently. Fearful traditions survive because they are repeated without examination, and repetition gives them emotional momentum. Yet divine order never hides harm within beauty, and the universe does not ambush the innocent. It simply mirrors back the inner atmosphere a person maintains. When someone believes they are vulnerable, the world appears threatening, but when someone knows they are protected by spiritual law, nothing external can disturb their peace. White has always represented consciousness cleared of resentment, suspicion, and doubt. When the mind is pure, symbols remain pure. The moment the mind associates danger with innocence, the symbol fractures, not in reality but in perception. What you bless remains blessed, and what you fear appears cursed, though nothing has changed but your inner vision. The sweetness you accept with gratitude aligns you with harmony, while the sweetness accepted with suspicion awakens unrest. This is not magic, dark or otherwise, but the simple mathematics of belief returning to its source. The truth that quietly emerges is this: no ritual overrides the law of divine protection, and no object holds authority over a soul anchored in understanding. What seems shocking is not the idea of hidden darkness, but the realization that fear has been granted creative power. When awareness replaces superstition, the mystery loses its grip, and the mind steps back into its rightful dominion. Awareness restores sovereignty, dissolves illusion, and returns every symbol to its original purpose of joy. As the mind travels deeper into this subject, a quiet tension begins to rise, not from the idea itself, but from what it challenges inside you. When beliefs are inherited rather than examined, they sit like sealed doors within consciousness, waiting for the moment they are questioned. Florence Scovel reminded seekers that life moves according to spiritual law, and law cannot contradict itself. If divine order is harmony, then disorder can only be a shadow cast by misunderstanding. Yet the human mind often trembles when long-held stories begin to unravel, because certainty, even fearful certainty, feels safer than the unknown. In many households, warnings are passed down in hushed voices, suggesting that certain offerings should be refused, certain hands avoided, certain sweetness distrusted. These warnings gain strength, not through evidence, but through emotion. Emotion fuels imagination, and imagination impresses the subconscious, where creation begins. The suspense arises when one asks the forbidden question: what if nothing external has ever had power, and the entire drama unfolded within belief alone? At this moment, fear resists dissolution, tightening its grip as if it senses its reign nearing an end. This is the turning point where many retreat, choosing familiar superstition over unfamiliar freedom. The mind, conditioned to expect danger, scans the world for confirmation, and every coincidence appears as proof. Yet spiritual law remains unmoved, waiting patiently for recognition. Shin taught that man's word is his wand, and whatever he declares with feeling shapes experience. If one speaks danger, danger answers. If one speaks safety, safety responds. The universe does not test or trick, it reflects. Midway through this realization, a deeper suspense emerges, because accepting this truth removes the comfort of blame. If no sweet, symbol, or ritual carries harm, then responsibility returns to thought itself. This realization feels unsettling, like standing at the edge of a vast inner landscape with no one else to accuse. Yet within that discomfort lies liberation. To know that nothing external can invade your life without consent is to reclaim authority long surrendered to fear. White sweets, then, become mirrors rather than mysteries. They reflect the state of consciousness receiving them. Gratitude transforms them into symbols of abundance, while suspicion converts them into imagined threats. The sweetness never changes, only the inner narrative does. When belief shifts, experience follows with unwavering accuracy. This is the law that has always operated, whether acknowledged or read. As understanding grows, the old whispers lose their volume. The unseen no longer feels hostile, but orderly, responsive, precise. Suspense dissolves into clarity, and clarity into calm expectation of good. The mind that once braced for harm begins to anticipate blessing, and life rearranges itself accordingly because thought has finally aligned with truth. Peace follows understanding, and understanding silences fear, allowing intuition to replace suspicion, faith to replace caution, and calm awareness to stand watch where anxiety once ruled, proving that spiritual law rewards clarity with steady, unmistakable harmony within every moment of life when truth is quietly accepted. When the final veil lifts, a calm certainty settles where fear once demanded attention, and the mind recognizes a truth that has always existed beneath every symbol and story. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that divine intelligence guards its creation completely, and no shadow can cross the boundary of understanding. What once appeared threatening now appears powerless, not because danger vanished, but because belief withdrew its support. The soul that knows itself as protected walks freely through life, untouched by superstition, unmoved by rumor, and unshaken by inherited fears that once shaped perception. Freedom begins the moment truth is accepted without resistance. The realization dawns gently yet firmly that nothing hidden can overpower conscious awareness. Darkness cannot survive exposure. ND fear cannot persist without attention. White sweets return to their rightful place as expressions of joy, generosity, and celebration, not because traditions change, but because perception does. When the mind stops assigning danger to innocence, harmony resumes its natural rhythm. Life responds instantly, offering peace where vigilance once stood guard, ease where caution once ruled, and confidence where suspicion once lingered. The universe, impartial and exact, mirrors this shift without delay. At this stage, understanding becomes protection. The individual no longer scans the world for threats, because wisdom has replaced watchfulness. There is no need to reject, avoid, or defend against imagined forces, for spiritual law does not operate through ambush, it operates through alignment. When thought aligns with truth, experience aligns with order. When belief aligns with fear, experience aligns with confusion. The choice is never forced, only reflected, and reflection, once understood, becomes a tool rather than a trap. The greatest freedom lies in knowing that nothing external determines your destiny, not words spoken by others, not rituals whispered in secrecy, not objects disguised as blessings. Power flows from consciousness outward, never inward. This awareness restores dignity to the soul and responsibility to the mind, not as a burden, but as a gift. Responsibility means authorship, and authorship means choice. You are not subject to hidden forces, you are guided by visible law. As the mind settles into this truth, gratitude becomes natural, and fear loses its language. The world appears friendlier not because it changed, but because perception matured. Innocence regains its meaning. Celebration regains its sweetness. Trust regains its strength. What once shocked now enlightens, and what once disturbed now dissolves. The journey concludes not with suspicion, but with clarity, and clarity opens the door to peace that remains steady regardless of circumstance. This understanding does not ask you to deny cultural stories, but to transcend them. When truth is known, symbols return to harmony, and the mind returns to rest. The sweetness you accept with joy nourishes more than the body. It affirms alignment with divine order. In this alignment, fear finds no home, and peace becomes the natural state of being, sustained effortlessly by awareness and trust in the law that governs all things with fairness, precision, and unwavering protection.